All right, guys. Get started. Okay. Good. Oh, sorry. Great. Hey, did you need to set up a mic? Okay, I'll move these out of the way. All right. Thank you all. We're about to get started. Thank you for joining us for the second annual Hope for Homestay. This was an initiative launched just last year by La Casa Norte, and we're doing it again. You know, we were really successful last year, and this year I think we all are feeling the urgency of the moment. And so it's great to have 35 partners joining us. We went from 20 to 35. So thank you all for stepping up and for community stepping up. We will get started now. I will go ahead and welcome Chief Homelessness Officer Christine Haley to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, La Casa Norte and Jose, for having us here today to celebrate Hope for Homes Day. I am inspired to be here at La Casa Norte alongside our dedicated service providers who are all here beside us, and honored to be joined by elected officials, State Representative Himenez, Alderman Lopez, and State Senator Guzman. This year has not been without challenges for our community and the world around us. Within Illinois, rising unaffordability continues to undermine the housing stability of Illinoisans and drive homelessness. In Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker's State of the State address this year, he highlighted our work, stating, "One of the biggest affordability challenges people are facing is housing." He stressed the need for action, saying, "We ought to be focused on making life more affordable for everyday Illinoisans." Almost 4 years ago, at this time, in this very room, Governor Pritzker announced an executive order to fight homelessness. This EO established an infrastructure within state government to address homelessness, including the creation of the Interagency Task Force on Homelessness, the Community Advisory Council on Homelessness, in which a number of the members are here today, and the state's first Chief Homelessness Officer position that I hold. Together, we are implementing Home Illinois, our state plan to prevent and end homelessness. And since launching Home Illinois, we have more than doubled our state investment and supports for our unhoused neighbors. But people living outside continue to be some of our most vulnerable residents. There are deep racial disparities in homelessness. And in Illinois, Black Illinoisans are about 14% of Illinois' population, yet over 60% of those who experience homelessness. We see overrepresentation of homeless population of young people aging out of foster care, LGBTQ young people, and youth aging out of foster care. 25 mixed status families living in public housing are at target in this administration. 25 localities in Illinois have passed laws that allow ticketing or fining of people experiencing homelessness for actions such as sleeping in a car or on a park bench. And we are very concerned about this trend and look forward to working alongside compassionate communities to identify solutions. We are also in the position of adjusting to a rapidly changing federal environment. This week, Congress released a proposed budget that, if passed, would cause deep cuts in housing and the services safety net. The House bill proposes a $773 million decrease for the nation's housing voucher programs, and this proposed bill would also cut HUD staff by 26%, harming the ability to implement our vital housing programs. At this time, it is vital more than ever that we are making evidence-based policy decisions and working to improve systems, not retreat from what we know works. We must uplift housing first, low barrier, and harm reduction-oriented best practices. We must continue to challenge harmful narratives about what causes homelessness and speak the truth about what does. Insufficient access to affordable and supportive housing and the chasms in our social safety nets. We must help each other for our neighbors and understand their stake in the future of safe and affordable housing that we all seek. The organizations represented here today at Hopes for Homes Day show up every day to support our unhoused neighbors with compassion, urgency, and commitment. The organization serves thousands of Illinoisans each year, providing housing, workforce development, and other support services. On Hopes for Homes Day, we are calling on every Illinoisan to step up and to be part of the solution. Please visit hopesforhomesday.org to support the missions of the nonprofits working tirelessly to ensure everyone in our state has the dignity and the security of a place to call home. Please know that your efforts are seen and deeply felt. Each time you support a participant, advocate for humane, evidence-based practices, or work to change systems, you are doing critical, life-saving work. I look forward to our continued work for housing justice. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm Jose Munoz. I'm the CEO of La Casa Norte. And thank you, Chief Haley, for joining us today. I also want to give a special thanks to a few folks that aren't here today. Mayor Brandon Johnson, Cook County President Tony Preckwinkle, and Governor J.B. Pritzker, all of who today proclaimed Hope for Homes Day in the state of Illinois. As Chief Haley said, every organization standing here with us today works directly with people who are facing the harsh reality of homelessness. All of us are there when families are in crisis, when young people are sleeping on the trains, when someone is doing the right thing but still can't afford to pay rent. But as great as all of us are as individual organization, the truth is that we can't do this work alone. That's why your presence here matters. For me, this work is very personal. There were times in my life, even when I was growing up, even as a young adult, when I didn't have a stable place to call home. There were times in my life where I had to crash on couches, sleep in a car, went hungry, and carried the weight of not knowing what tomorrow was going to bring. That experience never leaves you. And it's why I do the work that I do today. We at La Casa Norte started Hope for Homes Day because we need communities to be able to come together, and we know that there's a growing need for the work that we're doing. Last year, we proved something powerful when we started coming together to build something bigger than any one of us could have ever done by ourselves. This isn't just a fundraiser, it's a movement. It's us saying that we're done with scarcity, that we're done with silence, and that we're choosing collaboration, and we're choosing each other. We're inviting folks across Illinois to stand with us, to believe in a future where housing is a human right and where no one is left behind. And all of you can be a part of that movement today to help us build that future by visiting hopeforhomesday.org. So please join us today in celebrating and supporting the many nonprofits that are working to end homelessness in our great state. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce our wonderful state representative, Lillian Himenez.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm State Representative Lillian Himenez, and I'm also the chair of the Housing Committee in the Illinois House of Representatives, which is very close to my heart, and I'm very proud to say that we have a housing committee. The reason we have a housing committee in the House of Representatives is because my predecessor, our now Congresswoman Delia Ramirez, fought for it. And why did she fight for it? Because she grew up in this neighborhood. She grew up right here in Chicago, and she grew up understanding, like I did, that we need to make sure that we have a safety net and make sure that we give our families an opportunity to succeed and to thrive. And so I live just a few blocks away from here. I walk by, this building every single day when I take my son to summer camp. And we see the lines of folks out here when there is an opportunity for food distribution, and we know that there's a need, right? And we understand what housing insecurity is. From the woman who called me because she was living out of her car, she had just got a new job and didn't have enough money yet for an apartment, and so was in a situation where she was just desperate to have shelter for a night. and called me because she knew that I did some of this work. From that to the children that go to school with my son down the street at Cameron Elementary, that we received a call one day because a building was getting shut down and the families were getting evicted. And I had to walk down there with my son in hand, who's 7 years old today. Today's his birthday. I had to walk with my son in hand down to a couple blocks away from here to see, for my son to see a family out on the sidewalk with all their every earthly possessions, everything they could possibly get. They were told they had an hour to get everything out. And they were just sitting on the sidewalk and seeing another little 7-year-old boy like my son having to go through that. So those are some of the stories when you think about, some people say that there are stereotypes of people who live and experience not having a home, but there is no stereotype. We know that the reality is very diverse. And we know that in our community, there's also a lot of abundance. There is a lot of families and communities and people who care. When my district stretches from West Town, Ukrainian Village, Humboldt Park, Hermosa, Logan Square, and when I knock doors and I talk to people, one of the first things they were asking me is, what are we doing to help house the homeless? What are we doing to help the families that are in need that we see in our community? I tell you right now, that is the number one question that I receive when I go talk to our neighbors. So I know people care. I know you all are out there, and I know that you want to support organizations like Casa Norte and other organizations here, and that's why going to hopeforhomesday.org and showing that you care today is the most important day that you can do it, because we're doing it as a community. And so as we all do everything we can every day, and I know so many people do, today is an opportunity for us to come together to show our unity, to show our city, to show our state that we care, and to match those funds that, as was said before, the city and the state and the county have provided. And I'm proud to be part of a state government that has brought on somebody like Chief Haley, who I am so proud to have worked with in the past, who is a premier person who understands what are the barriers, what our families are facing, and what we can do, and it continues to do the work to figure out what we can do to address those barriers and to find those steps that help people take those steps that they need to find homes and to be in stay in their communities and be able to thrive. So I'm very proud to be in a state where we have provided those funds, and I will continue to do that every opportunity I have. But I do want to say that it is important today because of what we've heard about the federal government. The last couple of years, we have all seen that a social safety net that we fought so hard during COVID to create has been taken away stone by stone, as if each stone of a house is being taken apart. That's what's happened with our federal government. And we are on the precipice of that house just falling apart when it comes to federal funding and the federal safety net. And that is another reason why it's so important for the state and the county and the city to step up as we have, but also for the community, for community folks who can and who want to contribute and want to see their community thrive and don't want to see that house fall apart, to come out today and put their little brick on this house, because together we're going to rebuild this house, but not only just one, but for everybody. So we all have the opportunity to live with the roof over our head. Thank you. And I am going to introduce a senator who has really recently come in and buttressed a lot of the work that we're doing on the House side, but on the Senate side. I'm so proud to introduce Senator Giula Guzman.
There. Hi, good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. I'm State Senator Giula Guzman. I proudly represent communities in Chicago's Northwest Side, including Albany Park, Avondale, Logan Square, and Belmont-Cragen. It is a pleasure to be here in community with all of you this morning, and I say that because you're the heroes of our community. Just yesterday, I was trying to take a mental health day, and I was getting a phone call from a community member saying, someone just got an eviction notice, what do we do? And because of the network, the advocacy, the interconnected work that you all do, I didn't have to fret. My staff member had someone connected in this community within 15 minutes of that call. And thank you. And I think that's really the power of not just understanding that this is what our community is seeking, because it is, as Rep. Himenez mentioned, the #1 need in our communities that are facing gentrification, displacement, but that also continue to face attack after attack after attack on working class people. And at a moment, what the federal government has deemed folks like us, folks like our community, as communities that they no longer want to fund, as communities that they no longer want to see grow, as communities that they don't want to invest in, we know what our charge is, which is to continue to do the work that we're doing somehow even more powerfully. But what we do know is that solidarity, community building allows us to do our job so much better, which is why the mission of today, to be grounded, to celebrate Hope for Homes Day, is kind of the anchoring mission, right? We're gonna keep doing what we're doing. You're not gonna displace us out of our neighborhoods. You're not gonna remove the mission from our work. And I say that too because, you know, I grew up, I was the oldest of 5 kids. My parents escaped the Salvadorian Civil War. We lived doubled up all of my childhood. And it took a really long time to be able to talk about that. When my first day in college, folks are asking, what was your neighborhood like? How do you say as 7 people we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with another family? You don't. But days like today are really important, not just in breaking apart the stigma that many of our families feel and face, but also to ground us in a mission that for all of the good that we're doing, we still have policy work at every single level of government to ensure that people have affordable housing. That for every single dollar we secured in the state budget, we still left millions behind, and we need to double up, right? We still got a charge to do, so I know what that is. I'm really, really proud of every single organization here. I will continue to fight with you. I will continue to bolster your work. We have a lot to do. But with that, the charge that our community can do today is to stand with us and everyone who stands for housing justice by visiting hopeforhomesday.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Graciela Guzman, and thank you everybody for coming. My name is Byron Lopez. I represent the 25th Ward, and I have the honor and privilege to be the chair of the Housing and Real Estate in the City of Chicago. I want to thank all the organizations that are part of Hope for Homes Day and for the commitment to make housing a human right in the City of Chicago. I want to thank Representative Himenez, Senator Guzman, Chief Haley, and all the organizations that now almost have double the size of the organization in a short period of time. It shows the commitment to address homelessness in the city and the state, but also it shows the dire need to collaborate to make sure that we have homes for all in a time of darkness. Resistance is truly revolutionary, and hope is really remarkable in times like this. I am committed to make sure that every Chicagoan has a place to call home. That's what I ran for office, to represent a community like Pilsen that has been harmed by displacement, that has left many unhoused. Today across the state, we have over 100,000 people that are unhoused or in stable housing. Part of those are children in Chicago Public Schools. The numbers almost surpass 10,000 children today in our own city that need housing urgently. I tell you that as an immigrant who came to this country at 17 years old, I can relate to the stories of many immigrants who find themselves doubling up or trying to just make ends meet. We are all oftentimes a paycheck away to face homelessness. And that's what this is, a fight that belongs to all of us. Housing, it is indeed a human right. And in too many parts of our state and across the state, families are being displaced by the very communities that they helped build. This should not be normalized and it should not be accepted. This is a call for action. And let us be clear that this housing crisis didn't happen by accident. It has been decades and decades of neglect and disinvestment that have left us in this position. But we also have seen what communities can do when we come together. That's what this year I'm proud that our community came together with the different partnerships to create permanent supportive housing in a part of Little Village. And I'm glad to see Franciscan Outreach that I was partnered with the Department of Housing to invest $15 million so that we can create 120 single units so that people have dignified housing in our own city and in our own neighborhood. I also want to make sure that we continue to fight so that this is not a norm, that communities just be taken over by developers and communities just have to find another place to live. That's what we have to fight, to make sure that we create more public, affordable housing and that we preserve housing for those working families are working so hard just to make ends meet. That's what we can do locally when we come together, when we come state, county, city. We have faced these issues in the past. I'm grateful for the county, city, and state that came together, where inhumanity show up in our doorsteps, and we saw 52,000 people show up in our own city without any humanity coming from Texas. But our state and our city step up, our county step up. So I am hopeful in the midst of the tragedies that we see, but we also have to be vigilant because these federal cuts will affect us all. And we have to work together to make sure that we work together to find the investment that is desperately needed in our state, county, and city. I also would like to make sure that we have a call, because I'm proud to support Hope for Homes today, which I believe is a call for justice. And it's thousands of organizations like you see today that come together to make sure that we lift each other up and that we demand better for all of us. The way we treat our seniors, our children, our veterans, our working people, that is the way that we treat each other. And here in the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, and Cook County, I'm proud to say that we believe that we can do better. And that's what we're doing today, showing a first step. And that is by calling for action. Action for our state representatives, but also for ordinary Chicagoans and Illinoisans across the state who are finding a way to plug in and support. So today we can make a difference by visiting hopeforhomesday.org and donate today. Be part of an organization. Donate your time, donate your money what you can, but be part of the solution. We cannot accept the tyranny and the disinvestment as the norm, because we know that we can do better. We deserve better. And we as a community can do so much better when we come together. So when we support organizations that are investing in the safety of our families, we're not only making sure that our communities are stronger, but it move us closer to the future that we all deserve. Thank you so much for being here today. And now I have the honor and privilege to introduce a good friend in this cause for housing as a human right, the CEO of La Casa Norte, and my good friend, Jose Munoz. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alderman. So I'm actually, and we're going to invite Brett to come and join us to go in there. But since I got a chance to get on this podium again, I just want to quickly thank Keely Johnson and the La Casa Norte development team for spearheading Hope for Homes Day, not just last year, but this year, and continue to grow.
Thank you so much. My name is Roth Simpson. I'm the executive director at Franciscan Outreach. And it's hard to say anything after the passion word of Alderman Lopez. And so I think I want to keep it short and simple and say that we are all part of the solution. Every single person, doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter the location, and all of us coming together is what makes this so monumental. All of us organizations that serve different populations, whether it be veterans, single parents, children, youth, adults, we all see a need for more services, for more support for a marginalized population that is typically also minorities. And so we are coming together on Hope for Homes Day to basically stand up and say, not just hope, like hope for homes is important. We have hope, but we also have desire, we have commitment, we have dedication, and our staff and our teams all are coming together to say, we want to do better, and this is how we can do better, and we're also putting that call to action to everyone else, saying, please come help us, help all of us in our different organizations, because even though we're all different, we're all together fighting the same thing, an end for homelessness, an end for the lack of available and affordable housing for all populations and all citizens of Chicago. And we want to start here and keep growing forward. And so I am so thankful for everyone coming together on this day, that we all have hope for homes and that we all have that opportunity for our organizations. And I am going to then turn it over to, is this correct? Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to check if someone has questions they want to ask any of the speakers, opening it up to that. Okay, we are good. Thank you so much for all of the support. We will go ahead and, circle up, take photos. It is such a beautiful moment to have you all here in this room. All of the work everyone here does in their capacity. So thank you once again, and happy Hope for Homes Day.